Your phone, your laptop will be discarded in 5 years, even if they work perfectly fine. 50 years from now, 21st century laptops will be oddities, just like those brass machineries in the late 19th century. How is it that strong machines, high-tech machines, each possessing superpower, superseding, for example, the Apollo space program, the entire program, lose their value within such a short time? You see, functions, these machines, they belong in an ecosystem. Each tool dependent on another, with functions relying on the stability of a myriad of complex physical, behavioral, economic, interpersonal systems. And these systems change across the centuries. Revolution 1.0, you see water and steam power. Revolution 2.0, you see division of labor, mass production, electricity. Revolution 3.0, electronics, IT, further automated production. 4.0, cyber physical systems. 5.0, 6.0, 7.0, 8.0. So you see, we have revolutionized. We have become very complex, intelligent beings on this gyre. Super smart. At the same time, on the other side, there's another gyre. There's an increase in social illnesses, diseases, population misconstrued, population misunderstood, the divide locally, the disillusioned Christchurch massacre that just happened recently. Zooming in locally, the Ministry of Health of Malaysia released a report in 2017, 4.7 billion smokers aged 15 and above in Malaysia alone. 20,000 died because of smoking-related diseases. We spend about 3.8 billion ringgit each year because of the smoking-related diseases issues. And now I'm not going to speak about others like hypertension, diabetes, heck, cancer. 2 out of 5 have cancer. 40% of you in this audience are or will have cancer. This is rampant. This is like flu or the chickenpox. We have the Convention on the Rights of the Child to protect from abuse, from negligence, and yet the implementations are still struggling for us. So we have an imbalance in terms of the gyre. A huge imbalance. Yesterday's news, United Nations released the happiness report. Did you know that? Malaysia is ranked the 80th happiest nation. We dropped about 45 spots from last year. We were ranked 35th last year. So we are so smart and so sad. I call it the quadruple S syndrome. How? You see, we've got information at the tip of our fingers. Any information, all of you, access anywhere, anytime, anywhere. Not a problem. I can safely share with you information from the World Economic Forums, for example, if you want to know. For example, world artificial intelligence startups now are led by United States, followed by China. In 2030, the trends and the analysis states that Chinese will lead with a profit of about $15.7 billion. I can safely tell you that the Chinese government is spending so much on research and development, about less than 2.2% of their GDP, which is about $164 billion in research and development. US is spending about 2.8% of their GDP, about $4.47 billion. on research and development. They are strategizing, so we know all this. I can release and share with you Harvard University's list of jobs which do not require a degree, big firms which would love candidates without a degree. I can share with you a list of, for example, jobs on the decline in manufacturing, installation, construction, office, administration. Jobs on the increase, caring profession. The caring profession is on the increase. All these are within the tip of not just mine, but your fingers. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't mean to run afoul with weighty ideas on a bright Saturday, beautiful sunny morning, but these are absolute fundamental imports that require us to actually visit at this juncture of this century. What do we need? We need to have a filter. How? What kind of filter? We need to be able to develop this idea of validating information, synthesizing information, leveraging information, communicating information. How? When we are able to filter, there are 4 things that we need to channel, 4 ways to channel this information. The self, the family, the profession, and the community. Again, how? I will have to go back to having discourses with scholars of today and yesteryears. How? We need to have conversations with the wise folks, philosophers, scientists, theologists, anybody you please, you choose. We need to have conversations and discourses with scholars. How? You read. I don't mean physical books. They can be multimodal, video, animation, but we have to have conversations with the scholars because having taught toddlers, kindergarteners, primary school children, high school students, undergraduates, masters, supervising a 70-year-old candidate in public institutions, private institutions, nationally and internationally, I've seen them all within the short life that I've had. I'd like to share how having discourses with those great books can actually open up possibilities and expand your mind and perception. Bhagavad Gita talks about the Atma. Ibn Khaldun's the Mukaddimah. The Holy Scriptures of Bible or Quran. Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist can give you something. Visit beyond the orphan child, saying, please sir, may I have some more? Visit beyond, understand. Dante's The Divine Comedy, Darwin's Origin of Species, visit them. Because fundamentally, these scholars, philosophers, wise folks will tell you, fundamentally, it goes back to one thing, which defines us, which differentiates us from the machines. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? It's the core of a human being. And it's not just a pumping organ, it's more than that. The essence needs to be understood. Go back to that. So, Numan Ali Khan, I recently stumbled on this, talks about the heart as a control room with cameras, imagine cameras throughout the building. What you see is just the angle with which the camera is pointing. Imagine if you can control the angle of the camera, how much wider can you see? It's like the first time I went night diving and I captured the experience of bioluminescence with my fingers. Like fairy dust underwater, you will see shiny bioluminescence. I didn't know that. The angle was expanded. So it's all about coming back to the control room and expanding your view over the cameras and coming back and expanding and trying to balance those 2 gyres I mentioned earlier. This highly complex being, yet very sad nature, very ill in itself. Not prescribing anything, but I believe if we revisit, you'll get better and better. And with that, I'd like you to think ahead. Think more. And there's this saying before I end. They say, if you fix your heart, you fix your mind. They say if you fix your mind, you fix your tongue. If you fix your tongue, you fix your life. That's not from me. All that I've gathered have all been from discourses from these scholars. With that, I thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. Assalamu alaikum.